and that regular inspections of the scaffolds are conducted. Documentation of these activities are submitted to the Rogers O'Brien job site management staff. Erected scaffolds must be continuously inspected by their users, ensuring their safe condition. Report any unsafe condition to your supervisor. All scaffolding components must be installed and used in accordance with the manufacturer's recommended procedures. Do not alter components in the field. Do not intermix scaffold frames and their components manufactured by different companies, unless the component parts readily fit together and the resulting scaffold structure maintains user integrity. The scaffold base must be set on an adequate sill or pads to prevent slipping or sinking. The proper footpad or screw leg must be used on all base sections. Use adjusting screws or other approved methods instead of blocking to adjust to uneven grade conditions. Plumb and level. Do not force frames or braces to fit. Level the scaffold until proper fit can easily be made. Each frame or panel must be braced by horizontal, cross, or diagonal bracing to secure the vertical members together laterally. Secure all brace connections according to the manufacturer's recommendations. Erect posts plumb in all directions, with the first level of runners and bearers positioned close to the base. The distance between the bearers and runners must not exceed the manufacturer's recommended procedures. Plumb, level, and tie all scaffolds as erection proceeds. Fasten all couplers and/or connections securely before assembly of the next level. Vertical and horizontal diagonal bracing must be installed according to the manufacturer's recommendations. Provide guardrails and mid-rails at each working platform level, where open sides and ends exist. Toe boards where required by code. Tie continuous running scaffolds to the wall or structure at each end and at least every 30 feet when the scaffold height exceeds the maximum allowable freestanding dimension. Begin ties or stabilizers when the scaffold height exceeds that dimension, and repeat at vertical intervals not greater than 26 feet. Place the top anchor no lower than 4 times the base dimension from the top of the completed scaffold. Anchors must prevent the scaffold from tipping into or away from a wall or structure. Stabilize circular or irregular so the scaffold is secure and restrained from tipping. When freestanding towers exceed vertically 4 times their minimum base dimension, they must be restrained from tipping. Rogers O'Brien requires a means of access to all platforms. All employees must use approved access methods. These methods would include stair towers and/or ladders attached at the end of scaffold systems with end gate access to the walking working area. Accessing the walking working area from a ladder on the side or through X-bracing is not an approved method on a Rogers O'Brien project. The material loading area is for loading operations. It's convenient and allows easy access for personnel. The Safe Work Zone is a designated area where personnel are protected through limited access to high-hazard locations. This area is restricted to authorized personnel only. All personnel permitted in the Safe Work Zone must be highly identifiable to the competent person before implementation. The competent person must ensure that all protective elements of the Safe Work Zone are implemented before work is to begin. Properly flag the Safe Work Zone to eliminate unauthorized entrance. Fall protection. Approximately 300,000 disabling injuries occur in work-related falls each year. 85% of workers surviving falls lose time from their jobs. This poses a serious problem for exposed workers and their employer. Constant awareness of and respect for fall hazards and compliance with all safety rules are considered conditions of employment. Failure to follow the guidelines of this program will result in removal from the project or termination. The Rogers O'Brien Fall Protection Policy is that all employees working at a height of 6 feet or more must have fall protection. The workplace must be assessed before each assigned job for potential fall hazards. Proper fall arrest equipment is required for fall protection work when elimination of the hazard is not possible. A rescue plan must be formulated for all fall protection work. A training program is available to employees exposed to work area fall hazards. The fall arrest system includes, but is not limited to, a full body harness, lanyard with a deceleration device or other means for deceleration, and anchorage point or points. Anchorage means a secure point of attachment for lifelines, lanyards, or deceleration devices. Fall arrest systems are required to be compliant with OSHA Subpart M Fall Protection Guidelines. Using proper fall protection when working with a leading edge is essential. The leading edge is an unprotected side and edge during periods when it is not actively and continuously under construction. Guardrails must be maintained in accordance with OSHA Subpart X. Guardrail systems must maintain a minimum strength value of 200 pounds applied in any direction. The height of a guardrail system must maintain 39 to 42 inches and contain a mid-rail and toe board. Floor openings of more than 2 inches by 2 inches must be covered or protected. Covers must be secured and marked. Floor protection installation and maintenance requirements are covered in OSHA Subpart M. Stair and handrails must be installed and maintained when a fall hazard exists on stairways and walkways. Scissor and aerial lifts. The operation of any work platform is subject to certain hazards that cannot be protected against by mechanical means, but only by the exercise of intelligence, care, and common sense. Rogers O'Brien believes it essential to have competent, careful operators, physically and mentally fit and thoroughly trained in the safe operation of scissor and aerial lifts. If for any reason these requirements cannot be met, do not operate equipment. A safety harness with lanyard must be attached to a proper anchorage point of an extendable boom platform or a man basket installed on a forklift. Never exceed the manufacturer's recommended load. All accessories must be installed and used in accordance with manufacturer's recommended procedures. Any gate or access panel must be closed properly and latched securely while the equipment is in use. Operate scissor and aerial lifts on firm and level surfaces, free of holes or other similar obstacles. Makeshift devices used to obtain greater height, such as pallets, lumber, or buckets on the platforms, are strictly prohibited. Employees must stay on the working surface of the platform. Do not stand on handrails. Cranes and hoists. When working with cranes or hoists, ensure that only one person is the designated signaler. Make sure that the dedicated signaler and rigger have been properly trained. Use tag lines to assist in controlling and stabilizing suspended loads for the protection of the personnel, equipment, and structures. With loads lifted overhead by a crane, tag lines are required. Welding and cutting. A hot work permit system is required on all Rogers O'Brien construction projects where welding, cutting, or when any sources for ignition are present. Stored cylinders are to be kept upright and secured to prevent falling. Different gases are stored separated as defined in the OSHA standards. Flame arresters are required on both oxygen and fuel gas regulators. Where men or combustible materials are exposed to sparks or falling objects, screens, shields, or other safeguards must be worn for protection. Workers nearby must be protected from the arc rays by screens or other adequate individual protection. In any location where welding, cutting, or grinding is done, a fire watch must be assigned. Suitable fire extinguishing equipment must be instantly available and maintained in a state of readiness. Additionally, Rogers O'Brien requires the use of proper PPE while welding or cutting. Electrical. Temporary wiring is any type of electrical wiring that is not considered the permanent wiring of a building. Extension cords and temporary power cords are considered temporary power. They are not part of the fixed permanent wiring of a structure and are very susceptible to damage. Extension cords must be protected from personnel and vehicular traffic or any other sources of damage. The resulting damage can produce an electrical short or fault current, which may be directed through the employee's body to ground. This can be caused by the outer shell of the power tool becoming energized or by cutting through an extension cord with a power tool. Install portable GFCIs as close as possible to the fixed or temporary power outlet, so it protects the whole extension cord and not just the power tools in use. The electrical cords for power tools must be inspected daily, just as extension cords. Replace electrical cords immediately if damage is found. All electrical cords must be routinely inspected and be of the 3-wire double insulated type. Do not use extension cords if the third ground prong is missing. All power tools must be double insulated or must be equipped with a ground. Do not use power tools if the ground prong has been cut off. Lockout, tagout. All work that exposes an employee to any form of stored energy must use a method of lockout and be tagged for notice to all other employees working in that vicinity. Examples of stored energy include, but are not limited to, hydraulics, gravity, pneumatic, and electrical. Site-specific requirements. All employees and employees of subcontractors must sign in and out daily. Unauthorized personnel are prohibited from the worksite. On some Rogers O'Brien construction projects, employees and subcontractor employees are issued an ID badge. These badges must be worn in a visible manner at all times while on site. Anyone working on a job site that sees someone unfamiliar, who is unescorted or not wearing special visitor identification, must immediately inform their supervisor, who in turn should inform the superintendent. Construction personnel are required to park in designated areas assigned by the project management team. Lunch areas are designated by the project management team. Always follow good housekeeping practices by ensuring that lunch trash is disposed of properly. Smoking is prohibited in job site structures or in project office trailers. In the event of an accident, including minor cuts and other injuries, notify the supervisor immediately. Cases which require a doctor's treatment are referred to an off-site medical facility. Medical facility arrangements are pre-arranged before project startup, as designated by the project manager's safety director. Stored materials must be kept in a secure location, either inside a locked storage trailer, inside the building in a secure area, or in a well-lighted location, preferably in view of a guard station. Safety Program Conclusion. The Rogers O'Brien Construction Company Safety Program involves the participation on an active level of everyone within the company. The President and Chairman of Rogers O'Brien Construction Company are in full support of this program and dedicated to its rigorous enforcement. The philosophy which makes this program a success is the fact that each individual from top management to job site worker is directly responsible for the workplace safety of those individuals working under his authority. We function as teams, but rely on individual effort for safety. Hazard identification is a daily practice, and subsequent hazard elimination is a daily work requisite. It is important that you embrace the Rogers O'Brien Construction Safety Program, and we welcome your suggestions, ideas, and recommendations. Thank you.